This is the Inclusion Think Tank podcast, where we talk about inclusive education, why it works, and how to make it happen. On today's episode, I welcome my guest, Pamela Donovan, the founder, president, and CEO of the board of Ethan and the Bean, a cafe with 2 locations in New Jersey. Pam discusses how their organization collaborates with local schools and businesses to create an inclusive work environment outside of the classroom for students with disabilities. I would like to welcome everyone back to a new episode of the Inclusion Think Tank podcast. I'm your host, Arthur Aston, and today I'm joined by my guest, Pamela Donovan. Pam is the founder, president, and CEO of the board of Ethan and the Bean. Ethan and the Bean is a cafe with 2 locations. One is in Little Falls, New Jersey, and the other is located in Morristown, New Jersey. So, Pam, thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. I'm so glad that we were able to make this happen.
Oh my gosh, Arthur, thank you so much for having me. I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here and appreciative of the opportunity to just spread the word about not only just Ethan and the Bean, but um, just a world that maybe people are not so familiar with, or, inclusion and intellectual and developmental disabilities workforce. So happy to be here, and I appreciate you having me.
Yes. So, to begin our conversation, can you share with us a little bit about yourself and your role at Ethan and the Bean? And also, can you tell us what your inspiration was behind creating this business, this organization?
Oh, wow. Yeah, how we got started. My inspiration, obviously, is Ethan. Ethan is my son. He's just turned 25 this March, and he has significant, not only intellectual and disabilities, but also physical and developmental disabilities, rare genetic disorder. That is, he happens to be so lucky to be the oldest living individual in the state of New Jersey, or actually in the US, with a disorder called Chime, spelled Chime. But he is our inspiration. We definitely, we started Ethan and the Bean actually in 2018 as a nonprofit organization. Everybody on our board works as a volunteer. We have an amazing little village behind Ethan and the Bean, which I contribute, and honestly could not do this without them. We started in the basement of a church in West Caldwell, New Jersey, which was converted into a therapy center. We definitely had an opportunity to work with OT and PT individuals, and a kitchen space that was about 600 square feet. So we had, Ethan was our little guinea pig to start with, if you would say. We went to our school district, and we spoke to them about what we were doing to train individuals in a coffee shop type setting. And we set up shop in the basement of this therapeutic center, and were able to host about 12 students in the space over a summer to pilot the program to see if it would definitely be something that could work. Um, and after we did this, it definitely over a summer, we had a live captive audience, which was all the parents dropping off their students for the camp. So all the parents would come downstairs, and we were able to practice, a coffee shop environment for about 3 hours every day, Monday through Friday, for about 8 weeks. Just popped on over to Little Falls, New Jersey, and decided that yes, we should open this up. We had a little bit of a shoestring budget, and we opened up Ethan and the Bean in Little Falls, New Jersey, in November of 2019, and then along came COVID. So, so we made it through that. We literally took all of our students that were in space, because, as you know, there is no, once you're out of school, once you're past that graduating stage of 21, you kind of just, as you mentioned earlier in our conversation, there is no special education, workforce, environment, training you know, um, companies to get you started, and there's really not a lot of opportunities for employment and to be gainfully employed or to be in a competitive employment market. So we definitely pride ourselves on providing competitive wages, and we have never paid any employee below minimum wage. Usually, it's a bit higher than that. Um, we do have somewhat of a unique model where we do use sort of like an ABA type program for training purposes. It's just a very nice way to have set smart goals and be able to have measurable, where are you in these goals? We meet you where you are. How are you progressing? So it does allow for a good means of being able to support the individual based on their needs, and also how to teach them or how to improve their growth in the workplace, and then measure that growth to be able to provide feedback, on how they progress within the cafe environment, hospitality world. So we started that. We opened Morristown in November. I believe it was November 20. We've only been open literally like maybe 4 months. So we were able to have a wonderful partnership with Valley National Bank. I think they're as referred to as Valley Bank at this point, and they are amazing partners in that space. So Valley's headquarters is next door to us. So they moved from Wayne to Morristown. Morristown has been an amazing opportunity to really connect with a community that's looking to support individuals in the workplace, like our individuals that are working. It does take a lot of support, um, to have proper training and skilled training and support that is in the space basically 24/7. It's not your typical, um, a managerial staff. We do have board certified analysts in our staff. We do have, which is a board certified analyst being a BCBA, applied behavioral analysis. We basically also reached out to Caldwell University and reached into their autism program to help us when we first started in Little Falls with our training programs. And so far, it's proven to be a success. We're not complaining. Um, but we're trying very desperately to bridge this gap between graduating high school and then coming into, um, you know, I don't want to say the real world, but, the world of employment and
Yes, the world outside of the school, and that
outside of school.
yeah, and that is I love what you said, and thank you for sharing the whole story of from of where you started and to how you got to where you are today with now two locations. That is that's amazing to hear, and it's definitely much needed. As I shared with you, I have a disability myself, and those who have been following and listening to the podcast have heard me share my story, and there's very little out there to help prepare people with disabilities for the workforce and to
Yeah,
be gainfully employed and all of those things that you mentioned. So to have you all there and doing the work that you are doing and creating spaces for individuals with disabilities to
yeah,
be employed is so important and much needed. And um, for our next question, you started talking about this a little bit already, but your mission at Ethan and the Bean is to train individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and to create employment readiness in supportive and empowering work environments. Can you talk about how you achieve that and how
wow.
that is achieved?
Yes, we definitely sort of redefined a little bit of our mission. And again, going back to what you mentioned about, okay, you've graduated high school, whether it's 18 or whether it's 21. And, were you really truly prepared? You know, a lot of students, they're going to go on to college. Let's just say your typical or non neurodiverse individuals. Maybe they're going on to college, maybe they're going on to apprenticeships, maybe they're going into trade. So we took a step back and took a look at like how we were getting individuals within our space, and be it Little Falls or be it Morristown, and creating apprenticeships. And then we took it one step further because, unlike, again, Ethan being the inspiration, Ethan being sort of the guinea pig, and how do things work for him? And he is, significantly challenged on, on a daily basis, both physically and mentally and intellectually. So we started to make this other connection, and we said, you know what? We're going to create a world, using hospitality as our foundation. So we created Coffee Corner University, which is currently located in Little Falls. And we are presently again back in a cute little church that has a commercial kitchen. And we are now partnering. We reached out to both private and public schools, and we have been very blessed to have we have a special education teacher in that space, along with our community outreach manager is in that space as well. So these are individuals are in the school system and they have not graduated yet. And I would say approximately 17 to 21 are our young adults. And we are now preparing them and exposing them. Because it's pre-vocational, you have to definitely sample sort of a wide range of skill sets. So it could be baking, it could be serving, it could be bussing tables, it could be setting tables, it could be operating the dishwasher, it could be washing dishes, it could be making coffee. We expose you to a barista, but it cannot be usually job specific. That goes now, that connects to our work-based learning program, which is physically in our cafe. It's set up now in our Little Falls location. So you're still in school, but now when you move into work-based learning, you are actually sort of sampling and you are working in real time. You are practicing all the skill sets that you might have been exposed to, but a little bit more job specific. So you're working in those in that area. So in Morristown, we also created apprenticeship. So you are really working, and we're building to have a work-based learning program there. So we're connecting with the schools and bringing you in prior to graduation so that you can now be exposed to various, jobs and tasks within the actual cafe in real time. So that's what the work-based learning program is about. So we're in the process of sort of, bringing that into space, that being a bigger space, Morristown, because it's about 2,000 square feet compared to Little Falls, which is probably 480 square feet, which, the bathroom is probably bigger than the cafe. But it's a little bit smaller work environment, and we don't have a kitchen. So, and in Morristown, we do have a kitchen. So all of that is that's our next move, is to really create those work-based learning, create exposure so that you could actually physically go out maybe during the summer and get a summer job and present a portfolio. We're definitely creating these individuals, their portfolios, be it digital or be it, a resume, as they're going through Coffee Corner University. And then we have basically you're learning food safety, you're learning baking, you're learning all of these things. And some students will repeat the program depending upon, their where they are, what they've learned during like an 8-week session. So we basically have, fall, winter, and then spring, summer. We're working on doing a extended school year. but we're just not there yet. This really is our second, it's a year and a half that we've had this Coffee Corner University in place. And we've been fortunate enough to work with a private school that's local to Montclair, but students are coming from out of district. So they're coming from all over. They could be coming from Newark, they could be coming from Clifton, so, but their school district happens to be in Montclair. So, that's where we are and trying to get you job ready, exposure to what it would be like, wearing gloves, all of these types of food safety things that you might, if you had a job in a pizzeria, local cafe, a Dunkin' Donuts, a Starbucks, something along those lines, but really truly giving you exposure and what needs to happen in the workplace, at least in the world of hospitality. And that's where we are with trying to get you pretty much exposure to to the job market, job readiness skills, helping you build and develop a resume, and exposing you then to the next level of a work based learning program before you graduate, and then helping you, assisting you, and working with communities, like-minded businesses within the community that are maybe in our same hospitality world for other opportunities for employment. So that's what that's the bigger picture. We're working on it. We're working on it.
Yes, and then I like how you keep it general so that they, like you said, it can be applied to, many different positions that they may, want to
More
have. More,
universal
yes,
skills.
universal.
And if you kind of gravitate towards something versus something else, then how do we sort of, match you up, and give feedback to the school? It's, better for them to, maybe they're really geared towards, more like a pizza, a pizzeria local to their community versus a coffee shop, so, and we're, maybe a flower shop, maybe you're good at arranging and you like this type of tasks.
Mhm.
So, and my son seems to lean towards anything that could has a beginning and an end. He's not very good with things that require, okay, we're going to come back and do it later. It's he wants to start it and complete it.
Finish it, yes.
Yes, it's like, so he's like, just to give you an example of something like that, he is very good. He fills all of our K cups, so they're all done by hand. So he completes them. So there's, say that there's 12 that go in a box. He knows when that's done, it's completed. So that's kind of his strong suit. So we just work where he's, best, his utilize his skills.
Wow, that's
Not good on the cash register.
no.
You'll never get your money back. So so he's like, "Yeah, no, okay, thank you. You got a 20, you need change? Not so much." That would not, he would not need to be on that task at all.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So
But
anything
it's
that can create jobs, but keep in mind when you are doing something like this in, and this is truly an entrepreneurship,
mhm,
kind of business. Payroll is your, I mean, obviously the mission is to, you know, ultimately employ, right? And so that mission is the highest expense that you're going to have. And then the supports that are around that are also something that really needs to be taken into consideration. So it's a work in progress.
yes, yes, and it's all it's just great work that you all are doing. I'm glad, you can read about things that are happening, and I've read about you and, and all that the work that you do, but to hear it coming from you is, it's
I
really,
mean,
it's different to hear it from someone who's actually involved in the work. So it's really
it's a lot.
great.
It's definitely a lot, and
Hmm.
it does take, I am telling you truly, honestly, the people that are on the board, who dedicate their time and talent and their, to this purpose and to this organization, is truly remarkable. I mean, it does take, more than one. I mean, it takes an inspiration, and then, those people that are passionate, that are behind you, are truly what does the work. And the people that are in our coffee shop that are our managers, just to give you an idea, like Mike DiCarlo, who is in our Little Falls, he is an absolute amazing soul. He really, truly is. And, when he took on this position, we're like, do you know what you're in for? Do you have any? It's okay. It sounds good. I'll do it with a very, very approachable, can do, and accepting attitude. And then you have Natasha, who is, our Valley Bank or Morristown manager. She has got the energy of 1,000 people. And, she is truly, you know, a godsend with just, writing programs, supporting staff, and truly eventually she will move into something like, our operations and training and, managerial, you know, of all things that we do, so as far as supports and training and staff. So hopefully that will be, if I can drag her away from the espresso machine. Because she really does love the whole coffee world.
So you talked about the school districts that have been involved, um, and also with the bank, the Valley Bank there. Is there anything else that you could share about their involvement in the collaboration and partnership that you have with the school districts and also with the bank?
I mean, listen, the school districts have been very accepting to Coffee Corner University and our training program. We have definitely prided, and they were very willing to pilot, you know, and have faith in us and trust in us that we will do the right thing to support, their students. Um, and really, that has been, for a school district to take that leap of faith. And, we presented what we were doing. We presented that we would be, that we were willing to support their staff and meet their needs and what they were looking for as well in a program. But they were also open to us. Like, okay, we really want a quality program. This is what we're looking to do. We understand that some of the students that are coming into our program may not be here yet, but that's okay. So having the trust, the confidence in us as a new program, a new business, and what we wanted to do in order to get students ready and bridge the gap between graduating and the employment world, that was that was huge. So I could say, but we definitely reached out to, Ethan School District before he graduated and had the same conversation. And we integrated, PT, OT, speech, money management, into their IEP. So, we had that, just coming from a parent's perspective of how you wanted to develop a quality program. And, is it perfect? It's not perfect, but it's definitely getting there. And then having Valley Bank as a partner between Tom Iadanza and Ira Robbins and Justin Black and the entire Valley Bank community, I have to say they are a a financial institution that does what they say they're going to do. And they are truly do talk the talk and walk the walk of what they plan, how they envision themselves as a bank in a community, not only in New Jersey, but they're definitely abroad, into other states within the US. But they really do go out and support and show up. And that's truly an amazing thing that you can say, and they're not a small institution. They're a pretty, I would say they're in the top, between top 50, top 60 banks in the US. So they're pretty, they're pretty out there. So it's to have them come in and support what we're doing. And they were a major um, launch for Ethan and the Bean to be in their headquarters and to be downstairs and to be an entity that not only supports about 5 to 600 employees that come in and out of that out of Valley headquarters every day, but we're also opened to the Morristown community. And yeah, it's it was definitely a partnership that was truly embraced, and we are very grateful, very grateful.
It's so nice to hear of of you all having that support because that is how it gets done. As you said, with your board members and employees that you have, it's a lot of work, and to also have the support of the community and a great a company and a bank like Valley Bank is to have them behind you all and supporting you and it's really great to hear that that it's working out so well
I
for
mean, we were still definitely, a non-for-profit organization, and we are still fundraising and raising money.
you. Hmm.
Little Falls is getting ready to move into their new space at 35 Stevens Avenue, which will give us a kitchen. And then hopefully we can move out of the church with CCU, which is the Coffee Corner University arm of Ethan and the Bean. And that space will move from about 400 and I think it's about 450 square feet in Little Falls. We bake everything. When COVID came, we took an opportunity to teach our individuals how to bake, and we did everything out of a toaster oven.
Wow.
so, so it can be done. There are ways to work around not having a kitchen, but it is, truly if you want to expand your menu and opportunities and job training selections, it's nice to have a kitchen. So
Yes.
when we move into Little Falls in 35 Stevens, hopefully next year about this time, we're still raising funds for that. And because that's about a 200 to $300,000 project. And we are looking, we have a huge golf outing that comes up in July. So we're looking to, that's our biggest fundraiser of the year, and we hope to be in this space next year. We've already started, and we're working cohesively with the Historical Society of Little Falls to they're restoring the building because it's a
Oh, great.
1914 building, and they're restoring it with the extension that Ethan and the Bean will move into that space. So we've agreed to move into that space with them. But that's where we are. So we are still a work in progress as far as funding is concerned. So it's ongoing.
Wow.
The labor of love.
Yes, that is so. It's just great to hear all of this, all of these great things. And
Yeah.
um, before we go, can you share with us again where your cafes are located and your website?
Oh my God. Well, definitely ethanandthebean.com, and is spelled out. Don't use the ampersand or you won't find us.
Right.
We have 98 Main Street in Little Falls, New Jersey is our baby. Looking to move right up the block at 35 Stevens Avenue in Little Falls, New Jersey, hopefully this time next year. And we do have a lot of support, hopefully moving into that space. And then Morristown is located at 70 Speedwell Avenue, Ethan and the Bean, and we are right next to Valley Bank, an amazing partnership that we have developed this year, and we are so thankful.
Yes. Well, Pam, I am thankful that we have made this conversation happen, and
You and me both.
yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to share the story of Ethan and the Bean and um, the amazing work that you're doing there
Thank you.
to
Thank you so
continue to
much.
educate, yeah, to continue to educate and those with disabilities and prepare them for the working world, if that's the direction they choose to go in, and giving them the skills to, yes, giving them the skills necessary to be successful in the working world. So
Love
definitely,
it.
yeah, it's definitely needed, and more places like Ethan and the Bean are necessary to provide these learning opportunities for these young people going into the working world after they leave school. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you very much for having me. And I look forward to having you join us at Ethan and the Bean. Grateful to be on your podcast. And thank you so much for highlighting Ethan and the Bean. And we definitely look forward to speaking with you, hopefully, again in the very near future.
Yeah, so thank you again for joining me for this conversation. I truly appreciated our time together and this great conversation to hear about everything you all are doing there. And you take care.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. We thank you for listening to this episode of the Inclusion Think Tank podcast. This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey Coalition for Inclusive Education, NJCIE. We will be back with a brand new season with new episodes in September. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to follow us on social media at NJCIE. Until next time.